Exactly 1 year ago, Donald Trump defied the odds to win the most surprising presidential victory, perhaps of all time. He busted through the so-called blue wall, winning 30 states compared to Hillary's paltry 20. In his victory speech, he promised this.
It's going to be a beautiful thing. Every single American will have the opportunity to realize his or her fullest potential. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer.
That was like 2:30 in the morning, as I recall. What a night. It was amazing. And a year ago, let's not forget, the experts were all proven wrong. For months and months, the pollsters, the consultants, and of course, the media told us that Trump had no chance. And even as the returns were coming in, and the news anchors were sitting there slack-jawed, or some of them weeping, they still clung to their narrative. But as we know, the people rose up. They were sick of the Washington machine taking their power away from them. So what did? They took it back. And ever since, that same political, media, and entertainment complex have been trying to regain their power. Last night, President Trump and his party suffered a series of losses. The Democrats netted wins in the governor's races in Virginia and in New Jersey. And even those citizens up in Maine, the maniacs, overwhelmingly voted in favor of an Obamacare program that expands Medicaid. The reaction on the left was understandably euphoric, and many began to declare that this meant the end of Trump and the end of his conservative populist movement.
It's hard to overstate the degree of toxicity that Trump represents right now on the basis of what we saw yesterday.
The election was, to some degree, a referendum on Trump, and obviously he did exceptionally badly.
It's a good night for Democrats, and I think a rejection to a degree of Trump, and perhaps even more than Trump, Trumpism.
What we showed was this party is maturing now under the weight of this Trump presidency.
Wishful thinking, boys. These are the same experts who have been writing Trump's political obituary since he and Melania came down the escalator in the Trump Tower in June 2015. These are the same talking heads who told us he'd never win the GOP primary. And by the way, if he did, he'd get creamed by Hillary in the general. And of course, if he did that, he would do lasting damage to the GOP. A year ago tonight, they were all over TV with their hangdog expressions, embarrassed and exposed. And now they feel like they've been vindicated because of an off-year election where the party in power usually loses? To put it in context, both Virginia and New Jersey, let's face it, are pretty much blue states. It was all but assured that the Democrats were going to win there. And even the president, let's not forget he lost in those states. And let's not forget that before yesterday, the Democrats had lost every major special congressional election this year. Media didn't mention much of that last night. Republicans held on to seats this year in Georgia, South Carolina, Kansas, and Montana. And those Democratic losses came despite nonstop cheerleading from the mainstream media, as well as plenty of campaign cash. Still, let's be honest here. The Republicans and the president, they do have some lessons to take away from last night. I think they've gone about as far as they can go with the politics of anger. And they now need a happy electorate in 2018, one that sees its future brighter, and frankly, one that sees the country a little bit calmer. Remember what President-elect Trump told the nation a year ago in that victory speech.
I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans.
I love that. He has a lot of good news that needs to be shared with Americans, even those who did not support him. The economy is soaring. The stock market's at record levels. Consumer confidence is up. Unemployment is at a 17-year low, and I'm just getting started with that list. President Trump's efforts, think about it, to renegotiating NAFTA and other trade deals, those are bound to help American workers. And in case you didn't notice, he's a law and order president, deporting violent illegal aliens and cracking down on gangs like MS-13. That is good stuff for everybody here. The president and the GOP leadership, however, they must work together. They got to start racking up legislative victories that show voters, even those who usually don't vote for Republicans, that conservative populist policies are improving their lives and making the country happier. Remember the pursuit of happiness? Happy voters vote for the party in power. Angry voters vote the party in power out. That's what happened a year ago tonight. The Republicans do not want to see the tables reversed on them in 2018.